Alright, we're back. Let's get the game loaded. Okay. Okay. Cuphead didn't go super well. Start playing this again. This will probably help the mood a little more, anyway. Okay. Where were we? Where were we indeed? I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we managed to find some clues what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, "Don't even think about it." Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where'd he go? Oh yes, he's completely disappeared. Why'd he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind. Not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. Well, guess we should, move back in here. Something's probably happened in the time we've been out. Possibly. Looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject, what if Inspector Hosanaga's unscathed? What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He's gotta talk to the captain about it. Say he'd lay his life on the line for you. No, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Well, let's see what he has to say for himself. He'll have some new information for us. You never know. Okay, anything new? Well, let's look at the vent again, maybe. Oh, there he is! This ventilator joins to Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. Just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there's something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Well, let's see how you're doing. Yep. Yep. Ah, you're back. Inspector! What happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain I'd give you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. Looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh! I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Erlock Sholmes. I don't think it was German, though. Nah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. Man, this guy. Love this guy. What? Nikolona Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door. No, you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oh, God. Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. No? How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops, I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. Ah, there's one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh? What? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please! Gonna tell us? Yeah, tell us. What's new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Bureau's medical officers finished examination of the body. Managed to obtain the report. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report. Kazuma-sama. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. There are no obvious wounds or other sign of injury, so at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves were through the spine and the brain. Strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. There's a possibility. No obvious wound to be left. Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Post-mortem report. Cool. Great detective time. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was there, was he? Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept around on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. Suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes. Just one thing, but he practically shouted it. "It's shoe polish," was all he said. Shoe polish? Wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass. Do you see? Oh. Perhaps he's talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Ah, yes, that must be it. But how could Mr. Sholmes know that's shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. Was it, Cesaro-san? Well, Kazuma-san was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? Sort of dark brownish red, then. Yeah, it's a little like the color of red wine, but darker. Alpha repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean that his mark was made by the polish in Kazuma's shoes they scuffed the floor? Interesting. The plot thickens. That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I shall return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yeah, that might be for the best. Thanks. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted. Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asugi-san. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You are his friends. The truth is, I seem to have a heavy head ever since I woke this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing, too. Examine this a little more. It really is such a beautiful color, this glass. Whatever it was is broken clean in two. The other half is nowhere to be seen. And then there's the brick-colored mark, which is shoe polish, according to that great detective who seemed to know all about. I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes. Maybe. What I'd like to know is, how could the detective be so sure that shoe polish and not something else? Because he's a great detective, of course! And that's hardly a reason, is it? It's clear these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spilt on the floor. They spell the Russian word for wardrobe. It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there. But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelled out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words, or word in Russian. Which begs the question of who did write it. Okay, cool. Shelves again, I guess. All the books read for passengers occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf. They're all over the place when I first looked around, if you remember. Oh yeah, and you tied them up, didn't you? You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior of the cabins leads to damage. But it really wasn't me who knocked them over. Well, anyway, I feel much better now they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. This is where Kazuma spent his final moments writing his diary. 1:23 a.m. I can hear faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying, talked about life in Great Britain. Hey, Runda, you're done for the funny. Oh, welcome. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Well, that sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose no one counts for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure just everyone is busy, that's all. Anything you have to say?
You! Where did you go?
Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cabin to investigate.
Why? Who gave you permission for this?
Well, I mean, Seaman Hosonaga did.
That new Japanese, was it? Later, roll him into ball and throw him into cold room.
Well, he's gone back to guarding the door. Hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble in our account. He's really gone off his way to help us, hasn't he? Oh, Figalo broke. Oh, no, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, man, that sucks. Man. Sorry you have to go through that. He's really gone off his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at La Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. Okay, anything else in this room we can do? You can read this again. These are rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bureau. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. So, bring your pet on board. Miss Pavlova has broken the rules. She called it her friend, didn't she? Yeah, although we don't know what form this friend takes as of yet. I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin. A friend. It's more of this than it seems, I think. Perhaps. Is there anything else in here? Not sure. Guess we could go out in the hallway. I do like how she does say, like, little things about the area. Like hints that you should go back here. That's nice. Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san! Seaman Stroganov is gone. Strong enough? The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. Oh, these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? It's like someone singing. Oh. This caroling. I know that lark-like voice. Never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate. Definitely, before that Stringy Knot crewman comes back. It's Stroganov, not Stringy Knot. Let's go. It's open. The thing's open. One of the famous California engagement. No. She's actually from Japan. The first chapter took place in Japan. Now, right now, we're on a boat to England. But yes, actually from Japan. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Cesaro-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are private things. There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. Suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Not just for Kazuma-sama. Was Japan, was this sorcery? I know! What do you mean? Can't be long until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yeah, we will. Hey, let's examine this. It's open now. Oh my! Miss Pavlova's case is open! It's completely empty inside. According to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret. Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Bureau. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. More to the point, where's it now? Can't even look there? I was certain that would have something in it. Hold on, these are pulled over as well. Susato-san, you know what to do. All the books are pulled together. Look, every single one. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. Exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Cosmo's cabin. Perhaps. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase. I don't know, would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Hold on. You take a quick sippy. Gotta tickle my throat, sorry. It must have been you! You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything that bad happens on the ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again here, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. Yeah, well, I wasn't here. Naruhodo-san, are you there? I'm sorry? I'm right here. Yeah. Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe and I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. How about this vent? So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes, although what a foolish shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator in another room. Ah, maybe. So that there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That's a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. Do we pull this one? There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too. Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. She barely hesitated there. She gave it a good tug, too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. It seemed this teapot's empty. So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are very thirsty people. Or because Miss Pavlova only came to this cabin last night, she hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet. I mean, could be either. It's definitely they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it. You're rather obstinate, are you, Naruhodo-san? Why is this on the floor? What this little saucer is doing on the floor? It doesn't look like it's been dropped. Like it was put there deliberately. Ah, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? What? A leak? Is the ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there is a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is going to sink. No, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? I think it might be for the friend. What's in the trash? I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket. Should have a little look and see what's been thrown away. Naruhodo-san! It's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. Those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. And there's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. Just a few books on the desk. Nothing else by the looks of it. Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all. That's true. What kind of books she likes to read. Let me see. Yes, I see. Seeing Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian. Thanks, I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that. We can look at the rules again. Ah yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, yes, this bureau's rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I suppose Miss Pavlova realized she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend, I mean. I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. Probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh, yes, so do I. Is there anything else? We can... This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. Bolts drawn across, there's no way anyone could enter the cabin from outside. Yeah, it's not particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. Yeah, it seals up perfectly, too. Stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the closed door, either. There seem no law of tricks for opening doors. Starting to see why they suspect me. Man. Okay, we need to investigate here more, apparently. Okay. Did that, looked at that. No! Yeah, we missed that. Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look! You never know where he's going to turn up next, do you? Can't believe I missed that. Seems to be stealing a look at something he sings to himself. Tra-la-la, Larry-lay, I did it the great detective way! He's still singing. Think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky Harlock was about. Excuse me? I solved it all and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! Ah! What is it? You want to fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish! Sorry, I thought you were never gonna stop. So I figured now is as good a time as any. This is idle animation for the fighting game. I valiantly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks! Alright, I get the picture. Now, could you put those fists away? My god. Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. Did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there's nothing to report. Nothing of note happens, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman of oft stands sentry in the first-class passageway, and he has almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. No, he writes that in every 30 minutes. Nothing to report? Precisely. Put simply, the seaman wrote nothing to report when there's just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. Didn't he write nothing to report? Do you mean... Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night, which led the seaman to being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we're sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. If I had to guess, it's probably because, the ballet dancer. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Nice. Now that deduction's worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand my ways, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes. Brilliance! Oh, ouch. What is it? You hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Everyone's got bad head. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. There he goes. Still saying to himself. Here as he wanders off down the passageway. Oh, he took the log too. He just took it. Something wrong, Cesaro-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. Sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too? Everyone. Uh-oh. Should we go anywhere? Go back here. Ding-a-ling-ling-ling. Ah, what's that?
Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile 4. Full stop, hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact.
Oh, jeez. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Uh-oh. I can't stand. Cesaro-san, hold on to me. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. Cesaro-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. Looks like we avoided a collision. I think... Yeah, the ship's come to a stop. Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine.
Hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance!
That sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Is that you in here, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly! What, the bolt? Uh-oh. Look at that! The door's bolted. Did you touch Soda-san? No, I didn't touch it. Oh, that's strange. How did... And... Look at all the books. Just like they were before again. Ah, here we go. That's how it happened. Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? Better tie this place up first. What do you mean? A violent emergency stop had solved one mystery, at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. Uh-oh. I'm tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bad things are happening. Uh-oh. Save complete. All right. Well, let's see what happens now. Somehow the door of the cabin we were in ended up bolted after he made an emergency stop. Sao-san took a deep breath, gently slid back the bolt.
You! What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters?
Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yeah, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? Heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how'd that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Some of us have thought they saw a ship ahead. The person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop.
Everything is chaos! Passengers are screaming, crew are running everywhere!
This first-class air is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. What does that mean? Did someone press that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder! Dressed in all black, you are the devil! Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case! How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man! I know he did it! He's a criminal! He's not enough that he has killed a man!
Ah! He is stowaway as well! Fix's promise is not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away! He's a trespasser as well as everything else!
Stowing away, trespassing, killing? She is right, you are devil!
Doesn't look good, does it?
There is cell below deck. Throw him in! Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police!
Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you do? It's a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. Time to break out. There's a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Just need to keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating. Don't touch my things!
You want me to show you where crawfish hibernates?
Yeah. Uh-oh. Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think you're doing? Everyone's attacking me. I'm just starting to think she was my friend. Is anyone who can help you out of this mess? Wait a minute. Yes! What's he doing there, huh? Hello? What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes! Oh, he's got the tiara. Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Haven't I told you that as a detective, it's my business to know what other people do not? This is a mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Is it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. Which determine the bed that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so bragging bouts. I never know where to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time.
What does to report? Speak!
An urgent report from a great detective mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Yura. Has been solved! By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Here we go. Part 2, baby.
Ha! You have solved it! Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who's responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found criminal and wardrobe. It's this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door is bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Ah! Locked room! That is point!
The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there's another entrance. Wait, what? Entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. The vent? They being sus? What other entrance? We'd have discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator.
You think this is funny? Cannot even put my arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:33 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? It's a snake. The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Uh-oh. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I'm ready. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! Yeah! Where's the snake? There's the snake! Allow me to introduce you all to the band
The Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably.
Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
Pray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Looks more stripy, wouldn't you say?
Hmm?
Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that's precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly?
I think perhaps it's time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I've drawn from the facts. Number one, last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
He's turned as white as a bowl of rice again.
Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asugi.
He can't speak if that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Here we go.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it's that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on this portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit the description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? Oh. No, don't look at me! This has nothing to do with any of this! Oh, but it does! You have the answer to this quandary right even now, hidden beneath your back, or behind your back. Yes, that's what you are trying, but failing to conceal. It can only be the snake's slowed skin. Evidently, of the subtle and horrible crime this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the metal cord on the other side of the bridge, the serpent silently descended to the victim's quarters. The dim light had appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change every time it slows its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Is this true? Let's find out. Oh god, there's more.
Oh god, there's more.
Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim.
How did this young man lose his life, and why?
According to the data of which I've been apprised,
it appeared there are no visible signs of injury.
In fact, the circumstance of the victim's death can only be explained by terrible venom.
There's no poison, though.
Now, if we take that as fact,
we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Probably the shoe polish is the evidence.
Yes, examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of the death conclusively. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venom's fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestige of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence linked to the victim's death in that traveling case. When I first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... It's telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed, you'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. The victim appeared not to have been dispatched. You'd release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell core, the creature need only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever.
Hey, has anyone noticed there's like a weird line near the bottom left of the screen? I just noticed that. And I looked at OBS and it's there too, so it's in the game, it's not my monitor. The true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young's life. There could be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Alright, we gotta fix some things in this. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of the speckled band. Let's try that again. Miss Pavlova's trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key. Milk? Uh-oh. Incredible! You've solved the mystery! Amazing! Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Holmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Can I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course. What's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and I will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So I'm not sure it'd be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk is merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there's something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah. Yes, so I'm not sure it'd really be possible to signal the snake by whistling.
But madam, one of the tales from Arabia. Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute?
I think perhaps performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless.
I'll take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There's one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales in their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then to try harder!
Get good, snakes! Please don't beg me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this.
We gotta help him out.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, you don't mean...
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
Had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, right.
So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
What? You've done again. Your handcuffs are gone. Where'd they go?
Fear not, I shall see them restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Erlach Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Alright.
Man, I love this game.
She does have a pain expression on her face. Yes, that's true. It looks as though Cosmo-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read it quite correctly, is that it? Could be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment. Now really look very closely at Miss Pavlova.
Ah. It wasn't a snake. What kind of animal is it, though? Cat?
Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! It looks like a very painful wound. Like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. Fairly recently, too. Well, whatever scratcher doesn't appear to be around here.
Oh, right. Claw scratch, present.
Yes!
Yes, you recall those horrid events. That claw scratch smarts with pain.
Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh.
Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night?
Ah! But I think about the young man who died next door, and I feel so sad.
When I'm sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it's that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? It's not there. Let's look around.
Seems like I have the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand. Same about this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, that snake isn't her pet. What is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? Should you follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san? As well find the answer. Where's the kitty? Where's the kitty? Where's the kitty? Kitty. Aw, oh my goodness, look at that. Look at the photograph in this frame. Must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true. The bell's from the cat! That's true, but personally, it's a little black creature. That is a creature! You better take a closer look at this. Little kitten.
Yes!
Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear. What is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ah! Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's marking does not fit that description anyway. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me! Okay. So this isn't... No. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. She just left it in her pocket. No one would ever have known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sholm's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something. That deduction was his specialty. He was making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, kinda hard to believe that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? It's a cat toy! Well, it's speckled. There's a band, but... what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. Looks like a handle at one end. I'm thinking maybe a cat's toy. Sort of common in the West, apparently. How's that toy for cats? Cats like to chase a band around and paw at it. Kids in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it. That sounds positively adorable. Cat's toy.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you're trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely in the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After a feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. She was whistling, but she wasn't going pss 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 pss. That's what she needed to do. That's why it wasn't working. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. Kitty. A truly troublesome feline, young Darka's proving to be. She must be caged once found. You'll forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Kitty. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand, then ran up the metal cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty. Loved kitten. Moving on, we came to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear there are no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstance of the victim's death can only be explained by terrible venom. Yeah, there was no venom in him. Shom says it's true. There were no signs of wound anywhere in Kazuma-sama's body. That's right. Mr. Shom seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazo wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstance of the victim's death can only be explained by the Post-Mortem Report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some mortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact... I can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm at the scene of the crime. It's the bell. Could there be... I thought it was the shoe polish, but no, it's definitely the bell. The deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Nope. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. It's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon's been found, though. Presumably, Darker didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma to deal him a fatal blow. I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. Could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yeah, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix this abduction somehow. Is there anything on the scene that could explain what happened? Right there.
Yes!
Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's eye, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which now carries a matter, of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asagi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asagi must have caught his foot at that point in the floor and tripped. Please, no. And, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No! I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asagi lost his life? Yes, the factor is clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that leads to the victim's death in that traveling case. Except there wasn't. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. It's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But if this part of Mr. Shulman's abduction is right, Pavlova's trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Oh. Probably the tiara again. Somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. It hasn't been dropped, Naruhodo-san. It's been placed. I'm starting to sound like Mr. Shulman's. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. Nope, it's not the tiara. Nope, it's not the tiara. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. Well. Try that again. There's something else. What else is here, though? Please look at it more. I swear Miss Pavlova hit her friend. That's right, and it wasn't a snake after all. That was that little kitten she calls Darka. That's nowhere to be seen now. She even let herself out of the case and gone exploring. I expect it trapped itself around someone's head somewhere, trying to make a new friend. Either that, or it's scratching their hand to pieces. The point is, where's it got to? Am I blind? What's in here? Oh, I see something. There's a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first class have them. Miss Pavlova only started company's cabin last night. Assuming there's not much rubbish there yet. Aha! Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. It looks familiar. Perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Yes!
That's right, you hid the evidence that links to the victim's death in a waste paper basket. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that's a familiar air, in fact. Precisely, we found another piece of broken glass on the floor of Mr. Asagi's cabin. As you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of his glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know, and that hush Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be the cutest picture ever. Hold on. Yes, look at that cat!
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Absent a feline friend, Darka! Crack the case. Wide open. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. She's guilty, throw in the brig. Tripping over a cat. And we know why the door was locked, because the ship. Elementary. We did it. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it. Yes, and I had read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed darker with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet, and I was sure someone was there, must be sleeping. So at that point, I was trying to lure the kitten back again, by dangling in the toy through the ventilator in the adjoining cabin. Doc had always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. Tried to use her favorite toy, tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound caused me to recognize direless Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yeah, so there's nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Oh. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Bureau is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. Mr. Asuke was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under its feet. A combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. What became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Daka's nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case, and now she's disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself, at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died. I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right, where is it? Snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? And where'd it come from? What is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship? Is it his snake?
Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirosco.
What? What? That snake belongs to you?
He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. Did not expect to find him in here.
Yes, how did that snake get in this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board.
Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long with a close friend, without someone who understands?
Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better?
But my dear burly fellow,
a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger of putting everyone in.
no venom. Pirosco does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny.
It's venomless.
Yes, now he is hungry, so he's in bad mood. Once I feed him, you'll see big smile.
And you feed him, what? Milk, I suppose?
Ha! Like they say milk chickens? Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk only in stupid stories. Pirosco eats mouses, big fat round mouses.
Oh, so is that what the mousetrap of the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Oh, where'd your eyes go? Oh no. It refuses to drink milk, can't hear a whistle, can't climb a bell cord, and it's not even venomous.
How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It is not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Perosco has nothing to do with this incident.
So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. My God. Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. Please remember this. Young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then... And no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But... What are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. Love that series. An accident. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. Just can't quite put my finger on it. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh. I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? Do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Ah, not again. Why do you do that? Especially so on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Cousin was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. Must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, whatever that may be. Key this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. I can chase that down. Maybe the truth will become clear. Truth about how you really died. How that scene in your cabin really came to be. Oh. The music just popped off. Alright. I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin? Yes. But we should ponder first. Is the victim who lost his life in the cabin that was bolted shut from the inside? Was truly an unfortunate accident? Was it in fact no accident at all? That's what we must establish in the first instance. We've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten and climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. Doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. That couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. Evidence that proves unequivocally the victim's death was no mere accident. I'm pretty sure it would be this. Because, like, why would he write that?
Yes!
The truth is clear recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Asuki could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it?
Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe.
I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case.
But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
Doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. Makes a difference whether you do Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Asuki could have left this message on the floor. The reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Ah. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Atsugi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, which Pavel told us was true. What? So Sasa's noticed it too then. Putting this message on the floor aside, something else to give his truth away. In other words, probably this.
Yes!
What point are you trying to make with that evidence? I'm starting to see how Kazuma's death really happened, I think. I think that you're starting to see nothing of the sort. Really? I thought that'd be it. Let's try it again. If it was no accident, we should be looking at one of two things. Either the absence of something you expect to find at the scene of an accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't. Okay, let's try that again.
Most competently put, my dear madam.
Ah, I see. I guess the ship log is for later, then.
There's that languid I see doesn't fill with confidence, Mr. Naruhodo.
Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe in you. Well, more than Mr. Sholmes does, anyway. It's starting to take shape now. It's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. And this is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. This was already there. Would it be the scuff mark?
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. That's the glass bell the kitten had around his neck. We already knew all about that. It's broken in half and the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So you already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? That's really what happened. Then how'd one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Ah. Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. Mr. Asuki died last night in his cabin. There was someone else in the room. That same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth. Or to cover up his or her own guilt. Yes, there's someone else present in Mr. Asuki's...
You are wasting time! Someone else was there? Duh, of course, we know this!
What are you talking about?
Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out.
Oh, yes.
The only other person the cabin belongs to died was you!
Yes!
It's true, I was in the cabin when it happened.
You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe to be precise about the details.
But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message.
Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details.
Would you mind?
Forgive me, my dear fellow.
As I was saying... The person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor. In an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even thought I'd been asleep in there the entire time. Even though I'd been asleep the entire time. And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell that fell on the floor, for fear of becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asugi really died. Why wouldn't this person taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The count would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended at the ceiling would have barely cast any light on the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice the fragment of the tiny item. You all suspect me, don't you? Seaman Stroganoff.
Nina's woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal.
So that's it.
You said that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth.
Well, this is all most interesting.
And why would you give your tooth, pray? How could he be so sure? You're a great detective. You should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody would go in cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me the killer can walk through locked doors? Yet it's impossible.
He's right. But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie threads around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors.
Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find in any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. Remember Naruhodo suggested earlier, so... Cesaro-san, how could you shift on me like that? So Seaman Stroganoff is a valid point. Cabin door couldn't have been so bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily.
What?
I put to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the trace of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Oh yeah, they probably called for it. Well, Miss Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? Way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside. One way does spring to mind, yes. You really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Miss Naruhodo? Yeah, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen.
Indeed we have. So, but you can't do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo.
What? The telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. Is it supposed to...
Yes!
This is it! This shows how it was done! It certainly shows how something was done, I concur. In fact, it's an excellent way to show how easy it is to jump to the wrong conclusion. Okay, so it's not that, so it was the shelves. I thought it would be that, so you could... Never mind. Okay, hold on. So it is the shelves. I was just confused that it wasn't, like, lighting up. Yada, yada, yada. So it would be this.
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See all the books and things on it have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe... Yes, it's what knows the force of inertia acting on the objects. There's nothing Cesaro-san doesn't know? Well, that isn't her book, at least. Whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books in the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt in the cabin door. Oh, It's very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We'd come to this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance! That sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, yes! That's it! When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yeah, made a metal but small liner to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. For the first of ineptia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asagi was killed... Well, bam. Yes, this bureau made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over. And all the ornaments. I noticed someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. And I sewed them all up again, didn't I? When we came to this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asagi's cabin. Oh my! Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of your mind? You said a bureau made emergency stop?
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Let's just say that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room.
Oh, it's simple enough.
Oh, here's where the ship log comes in, because it wasn't reported on.
Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm.
Oh yes, of course. There was notice, wasn't there? Tell you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Wait! It was you!
When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. So he pulled a prank on us. Oh, our luck chums. Mr. Sholmes, sure it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. Sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with ship! I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now.
Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let's not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. So let's now consider... Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asagi, did the ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You're idiots! Pirates whose ship with many passengers make emergency stop even in the middle of night. There'd be chaos everywhere.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. I have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night?
Well...
Yes!
Seaman Stroganov, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right?
Duh! That is correct. Why?
In the ship's log here, this will be where you record the details of your duties?
What are you doing with that? That is mine!
Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there.
But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return to you later. I left it there on purpose! That's where I put it always!
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear under normal circumstances you write the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log?
That is... duh! Because nothing happened!
But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you?
No.
Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m. something happened here aboard the SS Vera. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish!
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us will have noticed. It's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. Can't imagine that anyone would sleep through that, if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry, what do you mean?
Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We all have suffered with it.
Ah. Oh, yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. My head's been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected.
He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. Since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. Can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside. The food was laced! Oh my god. Goes all the way to the top. The food was laced with a sleeping thing. And the first thing I noticed this morning was a throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe. I had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why did I wake up when all that was happening to me? All the food. Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boiled this vest as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What'd you survive on? Well, Cosmo looked after me. He was happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact. I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? Yes, it is. It better it is. Sure is. My dear fellow. Does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there's something wrong with the chicken? I do. No. Really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug? Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so that no one knows the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger aboard of the soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Sholmes! Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say it, any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. Everyone was in on it. If you refuse to talk, there'd have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Please, no more. I will tell everything. Cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet. Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel.
I don't believe it.
You are right. You put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Yeah, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
Duh, we could not make all drug. How do you say dissolve?
Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning.
At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat.
All the passengers of the SS Bioa slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosmo's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely if a cabin door had ended up locked in that case, there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Well, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers have habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to emergency stop in the early hours of the morning.
You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point?
The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl.
You like to speak with your long English words and spring your clever ideas. But I'm a sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes.
A laudable trait.
What?
I'm quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yeah? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind? What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man, but you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction.
What are you talking about?
I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Here we go. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? Observation, my dear fellow, just as I said, of these two prevaricators. Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, you know someone tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asaki's death. We're looking for some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely! You're delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, let's see what I can see. I was looking for a trace of evidence to show someone else was there last night when Kazuma died.
Yes!
seems Stroganov. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from.
So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain.
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganov's uniform. I think what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it.
My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves that what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganov's uniform is...
Yes!
Yes, it's his photograph and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain in your uniform.
Ink?
A rather unusual color of ink, purple.
Ah!
Ah, the penny drops, at last. Now you see the significance. The penny drops. Does that make sense for the... I mean, like, coin-wise. Do they have those in England, pennies? I don't know. I'm a dumb American. I don't know all the currencies of the world. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is that you have exactly the same color. If ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform that way. Which means... you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilt.
Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Bureau do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything to no one would suspect our angel.
Biff, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Biff, please, you must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one. My little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you.
He can't escape through the ventilator in Mr. Asagi's cabin. They tripped over and broke his neck when he fell to the floor?
Yes, that is right.
So after the instant when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers? Only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor.
She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
Just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asagi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you! But Nina opened door of student's cabin and looked inside.
I was asking Miss Pavlova. Well, Miss Pavlova? Duh. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Cosmo's death at last? Ah! Something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death is a broken neck. Therefore, the victim died instantly. The unfortunate incident that precipitated these events. A kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, those are the facts. There's one particular area of this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural.
What do you mean, unnatural?
What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well... Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck. Which part of this photographic print seems unnatural? Probably this.
Yes!
This word in Russian clearly wasn't written by Kazuma. So if you're looking for something unnatural, that's the obvious point. Very true. Certainly peculiar, but it's not what I meant by unnatural, I'm afraid. That particularly crass detail is orchestrated by the culprit. I meant to identify another point. Oh, I see. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. In my opinion, if you landed as the victim appears to have done here, it would be most unnatural. I'm sure you'll reach the same conclusion. How thoughtful you are, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you for your gentle guidance. Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck.
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell to an unfortunate accident, this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say. As though he were gripping something.
What do you mean?
Simply, I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did. And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, my dear madam. Why would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found. Oh, crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. That's one of her earrings. Oh my god. Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us?
It tells us nothing.
I'm not so sure. A crescent moon looks... It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth was now tantalizingly close. How'd that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue. The last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does the little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe! Find the answer with your own eyes. Okay, so there's this.
Yes!
Miss Pavlova, I noticed it on your ear. Even though I have a metal earring, the decorative part seems to be missing. The little link holding it must have broken, I suppose.
What?
But looking at your other ear, I noticed a crescent moon. Ah! Hold on a sec. Okay.
I don't believe it!
Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clear, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Usuke must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Usuke's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell through your own eyes. In fact, you're quite literally arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Usuke do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no.
Angel?
No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, What did you do to Kazuma? She said net, by the way. I think about everything that happened yesterday. It was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin, I could relax after this horrible long day. Darko, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. Tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darko would not come back. No, sorry, just like... What are you doing here this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country is very polite and kind. Helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, I was going to leave the man's cabin. Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? Sure, I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He'd know who I was. How could this man from London the faraway east know a Russian ballerina? Yeah, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on the ship? Sure, I read that your ballet company's performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Oh, hey. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. But he was going to tell Ryunosuke, though. Why, I think I could trust him. Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Taka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me... Oh my god. I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And... I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. And that's when he went to fetch help. From Seaman Stroganov, who was on duty out in the passageway.
I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like a leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be..."
Please, I have nowhere to go. So he decided to help. And that's when he arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that one would suspect the passenger of the cabin next door.
Yes. I went into cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. Then I found Stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right. That's when he found me. So he worked out a plan to lay the blame on the Stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign.
Luckily for me, that's the only reason Sound started to believe me when I said I was innocent.
Dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote wardrobe, so the person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find stowaway.
And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. It was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job.
I pressed the emergency alarm button in the passageway.
Yes. Accordingly, the SS Bureau did indeed come to emergency halt a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery.
There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you say you told Cosmo about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. It's because you're worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? Because what he said first, that made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here this time of night, Inspector? No, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, meaning me. Who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before I could pull the bell cord, I... May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Usuke really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? I was gonna ask Ryunosuke for an opinion. Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. The cabin's been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama? Yeah, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes! There's one thing I've learned today. A simple gaze can reveal all manners of truths. Not only that, nor draw the right conclusion. You can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when I turned away with Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
Take that!
Considering everything that happened last night, it certainly may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however, was directly beside the bell cord, the wardrobe. The wardrobe? And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Ah! Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asuki's exact words last night? Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asuki tended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you'd made sure of what Mr. Asuke was looking at. Things may have ended very differently, if you had. Miss Pavlova. I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. That'll never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really. I'm so sorry. What have I done? Well, there we go. We solved the case. So at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Bureau is finally laid to rest. I'll have to Miss Pavlova now, then. Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What the fact she ran away from Russia? What, the Russians tried to repatriate her? I don't know. I've never heard that word aloud before. Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that. But you won't be going back to Russia, then? No, I don't think so. If she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she'd be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see.
I'm sorry.
Seaman Stroganoff.
I wanted to help La Angel, no matter what. But I did think about you. About how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... Well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you?
Duh.
Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yeah, I did stow away after all. Couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. Looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it even begun then. I think that only days ago Kazuma and I were laughing together how we'd tear up the streets of London. Seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Oh. Cesaro-san. Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Dr. Hosonaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that. Cesaro-san? He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. Now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. Just too much. Yeah, I know. Wish there was something I could say. Oh. Inspector, I do to see Asugi-san safely to Great Britain, but I failed. It caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. Let everyone down. I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. No one blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least. Huh? Surprised, Mr. Naruhodo? What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them, for old time's sake, shall we say. You're a stowaway, after all. You think this is funny? Well, so much for that sad moment, then. Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. Though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. Hope they'll be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. Just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was a stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be? In the light of Mr. Atsuki's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Cesaro-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualification obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourself another suitable lawyer. Yes. Mrs. Sato? Yes? Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? Ah, but you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there's still more than a month before each England shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study. Tomorrow I must become a lawyer in Great Britain. Mr. Naruhodo, that's ridiculous. Are you serious to suggest that anyone could learn of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I'd work my fingers to the bone, Inspector. Every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time I reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to become recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma, he said there was something he had to do in Great Britain. And I'd sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. Can't let all that passion just come to nothing. Man, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mrs. Sato? I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are undisputable. No, it's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating? Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is character. No?
And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours this morning till this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage.
Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector, after all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? So that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here. Oh, thank you, Inspector! If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. Need to discuss what to do next, and how best to make my report. Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm gonna try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Something about being a lawyer? I'd be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all. Thank you. And Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this. What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma-san would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Yasuke clan for generations. Very well, I accept. Treasure as always. We'll treasure it always. Nice flub there, idiot. Ruin the emotional moment. So then, Mrs. Sato. Seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet. It'll be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. For the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. You should fill every spare moment with study. That's exactly what I need. But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask you too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me the ground. 3 times. Huh? I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. No matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you're in shock. You just found out about me stowing away. The cabin door is locked for the No! I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. Not just once, but 5 times! The number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must! Just take hold of me and throw me! Do it! Don't even think about it! No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. That skill one acquires without considerable training. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When do you see that? Well, there was one time when I messed up the thing in the room. I presume that'd be a form of Japanese wrestling. Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique. It's apparently called the Cesaro Takedown. These are head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I'm a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. Wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw. Yes, I'd be honored. Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam. Oh, of course. Uh-oh. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry. Hi-ya! Oh, God. 6 times now. As you can see, you throw from the abdomen. Oh, yes, arresting indeed, and that's what you term the Cesaro Takedown, is it? Actually, no. That was a Cesaro Squash. Man. My groggy state of consciousness. A scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered in my mind. Karuma. That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Yasuki clan. Can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. Japanese man's sword is soul, Ryunosuke. Can't be apart from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was. Rip. We'll never know. I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. Mr. Naruhodo, this reminds me of a puzzle. Well, we did it. Alright. Adventure to the Runaway Room. We'll have to do that next time. Whew. Wow, that was a lot. So yeah, that'll do it for today, I think. That'll do it for today. That was a blast. I love this game a lot. Very, very fun. Hope you guys are enjoying it too. This has been a blast. Anytime we get to do funny voices is nice, but yeah, it's a Phoenix Wright game. The story's compelling. It's very nice. But that is it for today. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Y-Soup, for the raid earlier and such. But we're done for the day. I'll probably either stream this or a different game. The reason I tried to play Cuphead earlier, because like I was thinking of other games I want to play, and Cuphead was like the first, like one of the ones coming to mind, because like, oh, I never played it. But the one I was thinking beforehand, that's what I'll be streaming. So look forward to that mystery game. Yeah, that's it. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, everyone. See you guys next time. Goodbye.